Hey everyone, welcome to the second episode of the Career Focused Podcast. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about my journey from college to life in technology. That story spans about 8 years, and so I'm going to take you through each of the chapters very briefly of what I've been doing, what I've been thinking through each of those chapters, and what ultimately got me to where I am today. When I graduated from college, I started my career working at a Division II athletic department in St. Louis, Missouri, which is my hometown. And for anyone that may not be familiar, there's Division I, II, and III in collegiate athletics. Division I is typically a higher level of competition on the field, and there's more budgets that goes directly toward facilities, student scholarships, resources to support the student athlete experience. And then it trickles down from there. Division II is in the middle. Division III actually has no scholarships to those students. I was working for Division II, and I was in a lean, mean department, and I was running our marketing and promotions and sponsorship packages. A lot of folks that have been to sporting events, you'll know that there's lots of signage and advertising that takes place in the arena or on the field, or there's radio commercials. I was selling all of those things. A lot of entry-level positions across industries start with a quota and selling, and that's what I did. So I would meet with a lot of businesses, large and small ones, in the St. Louis area and some even national brands, supporting their marketing efforts and developing sponsorship packages so that they felt like their product or their business or service was being promoted effectively. So that's where I really put my marketing minor from college to good use, because I had to think about the different audiences and demographics that cater to those different businesses, and what are the ways that I can put those promotional thoughts and ideas into action into my product being an athletic department. The benefit to that department for me, with it being really lean, was that I did everything. And that's a lot, especially for someone with very limited experience coming out of college. But it really served me well because it gave me insight into operations, communications, planning, and how to manage volunteers. I was doing things outside, I was doing things inside. At the time, I was paid by the hour, but I was guaranteed at least 40 hours every week. So it essentially was like a salary. It was full benefits as well. And it was a really great first job. There are, of course, things that I didn't love about it right away, but in the 2 years that I spent there, I met some really great people. I got really great experience in higher education, and it served me really well, despite the several challenges that I encountered on a daily or weekly basis. After about a couple years, I knew that I was ready to move on to another institution. I liked higher education, but I wasn't quite sure I wanted to stay in sports. It was a lot of time. I said that I was an hourly employee, but I was definitely working well over 40 hours every single week with relatively little pay. To be honest with you, on weekends and Sunday evenings and things like that, I didn't want to go watch a soccer game that only 15 people were going to attend. It didn't feel like something that I wanted to spend my time on, but I knew I liked higher education, and I was really lucky. I got a job at the University of Texas in Austin, Texas, in the business school, supporting technology companies that were recruiting from some super specialized academic programs. So essentially what that means is a lot of different companies across industries partner with universities to get plugged into career fairs and mock interview events and other things that students attend when they're thinking about jobs. And it was my role to support those companies to make sure that the day-to-day operations of those events were going well for them. I communicated all the details of the events with them. And then on the back end, I was strategically working with professors, career coaches, and people in between in helping them understand what are the needs and the skills of the students, what do they want, and then I would articulate that with recruiters and hiring managers from companies, primarily in the technology industry. When I was working at UT, I was also pursuing a master's degree part-time, which I did later finish. It's a master's degree in HR development. And essentially what that means is it's providing support to employees in the corporate sector so that they can develop skills and ultimately move upward in their own career paths on the corporate side. And since I was soon to finish that degree, I knew I wanted to jump into the corporate world, but I wanted to take away some of the good things that I experienced when I was working at UT. I liked technology. I liked communicating with people. I liked being recruiting adjacent and sales adjacent. So I started doing a lot of research and a lot of networking to try and get my foot in the door with technology companies and see what opportunities were out there and what skills and experiences did I lack. What skills and experiences did I have that transferred? And fortunately, I got a really good job starting out as a recruiting coordinator for the current company that I work for. It's a software company based in California, but we've got a large office in Austin. And in that role, I was handling a lot of the back end and administrative functions and responsibilities that happen behind the scenes. I would help provide processes so that our recruiters didn't have to spend quite as much time digging through resumes, finding the right fit. I would also coordinate with the hiring managers, so the people that were actually making the final decision, am I gonna hire this person or not? They of course needed to be part of the interview process, so I would work with them to make sure that schedules are aligned between the candidate and the hiring team. And that's where I learned a lot of the ins and outs of recruiting. And with my background in higher education, I felt like I could make a nice fit between that administrative process expertise that I developed and the higher education side that I knew from working with students and career coaches on campus. And I was able to transition and get promoted into an early careers recruiting position. So I ran our early careers program at that company. We did really well there. We hired 10 interns in my first year. We actually won a couple of awards as well. And then after that, I transitioned into the role that I have now. I'm running learning and development at my company. So I mentioned that we've got around 1,100 global employees across all types of functions, across all types of management levels. And I run our learning and development, which essentially is providing support to those employees so that they can continue to develop their skills and their management skills so that everyone ultimately feels like they are being supported by the company in their own career growth. I share all this so that you can get an understanding again about my background and see what might resonate with you at this time and help develop your own career interests through my story. But I'm going to share a lot of details about my story anecdotally in all the interviews and some solo episodes that I have upcoming. So if you're more interested in my story, of course, I welcome you to subscribe to the channel. Definitely rate and follow the podcast. And just stay tuned because you're going to learn a lot more about the ins and outs of my story. And as that continues to evolve, I'll have more to say. So thanks everyone for listening and for watching, and looking forward to more.